Yo, what up YouTube? It's Mike. I go by DJAXCESS. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe. And if you find something helpful or interesting, please make sure that you like the video. But we're going to get right into it today. I'm trying like a new format. A big shout out to Nick Spinelli, who kind of gave me the idea for this format. If you're not following him, he's probably my new favorite content creator when it comes to DJs. So make sure you check him out. But he just kind of does like weekend updates. His is far more interesting as far as production. But if you guys really like this style from me, then I'll kind of go that route. But for right now, I just want to talk about the weekend and some teaching moments. So glad you're here, and I'm just going to get right into it. I did not have Seesaw like I typically would on this weekend. I got in from Colorado late. First trip out to Red Rocks. If you are a music fan, you got to check out this venue. Colorado was great. Denver was great. Red Rocks was amazing. We saw Rufus Du Sol, and they're just a great act if you're not familiar with them. And oh man, venue sounded great, easy access to bathrooms, great vibes, in and out, the entry and exit, they have it down to a science. We got in about 10 minutes, we got out in about 10 minutes, so that was great. Took a shuttle from the Origin Red Rocks, awesomely designed hotel. It's like right next to the amphitheater, to the concert venue. So highly recommend all those things. It was a great trip. Had a awesome time with some great friends. So I got into Columbus a little bit later than I wanted to. So Justin Nice held it down for me at Seesaw, and I really appreciate that. And then Friday was time for a wedding up in Cleveland. I was solo this time. I've been traveling with an assistant lately, but I didn't, going up to Cleveland, I just didn't want to spend the extra money to kind of do to bring an assistant up there. So I brought a slightly smaller system than what you guys might have seen in my last 2022 preview video. So maybe I'll roll some footage here of what the setup I brought out looks like. It's the Freedom Sticks, Ape Labs, Maxi uplights, and what else did I bring out? My RCF Evox 8s, and then my Max DJ booth, which has been a big hit every time I've brought it out. It's all hooked up now, and I'll probably do a video on that here soon. But basically, I roll in, drop the bass, put the top on, hook up 2 XLRs and power, and I'm ready to go as far as sound is concerned. And then I just set up the Freedom Sticks. I use the table that they would usually provide me to kind of elevate some of the Freedom Sticks to kind of give it that stage look. And then the Ape Lab Maxis are connected to, I usually run them by themselves up until we get to dancing, and then I connect them to sound switches, which is how I've been running my lights for a while. So I was missing the totems and my Chauvet trios, but I haven't found a vehicle yet that I can transport them in, so that's going to be the setup until I do that. So anyway, got to Cleveland, got some early footage, everything was running smooth, and then set my speaker up for cocktail hour, went to the bathroom to change, and well, I wasn't sure what I was going to make a video about today, and then this happened. Stay tuned. I heard rain while I was in the bathroom, so I sprinted out, and my speaker was already pretty drenched. My iPod that I have sitting on top of it was all pretty wet. Luckily, both of those survived. So I use an Anchor Audio Liberty 2, and I got the package that includes the headset, the lapel, and a handheld mic. And it's battery powered, lasts at least 6 hours. I haven't tried it longer than that, but it's a fantastic system if you can afford it. It is pricey, but it's worth it, man. Just being able to have a speaker. I've run it out. It's just a really good thing to have, especially for ceremonies if you're doing them remotely. It's got great sound. If you want something that's a little bit cheaper, you can go with the Getter 2. But I did find that even at ceremonies of 100 people, 150 people, that I was really having to push it. And as soon as somebody does the thing where they drop the mic, it's really difficult to hear in the back. So that's why I got the bigger one, and I kept the smaller one just because it's such a nice system to have. So where was I? Yes, speaker getting drenched. Everything survived, thankfully. But I guess the teaching moment from that is, change before the show starts. You don't want to be changing. You never know when the weather's going to shift. You never know when something's going to happen. So I will not be changing while I'm actually performing anymore. Obviously, I had a playlist going on for cocktail hours, running smooth and all that. But just got to kind of keep an eye on your gear. And so that's the teaching moment from that. As far as the wedding went, it was a it was a mixed crowd, so a lot of older people, a lot of younger people, but the music was definitely leaning towards the older side, more of the yacht rock, more of the classics, but like not the typical classics, like classics, and maybe I could show some songs on the chalkboard here once I go through my playlist. But it was a great party. Everyone danced all night. We had a full dance floor. It was small. It was at Windows up on the River in Cleveland, Ohio, which I've been to a bunch of times, and it was cool event, great couple. They stayed on the dance floor all night, and then I drove back home that night and got ready for my show on Saturday, which, it was really going to be hard to top. But to give you some background, I have 3 couples, and they're all friends, and they're all working with myself and the same wedding planner for all the receptions. They all had to reschedule last year. We had one that rescheduled for December, so that was during the pandemic. We had restrictions, and while it wasn't the party that I know the bride wanted to have, we still had a great time. The one takeaway that I'll always remember about that wedding is, like, we had people dancing on the tables because they wouldn't allow us to dance on the dance floor. So at some point during the middle of the party, somebody started getting on the tables and started dancing, and then everyone started doing. So we had like 8 or 9 tables of people just dancing on the tables, and that was awesome. So I was glad that one went well, but based on what the bride and groom wanted, they wanted a big party, big dance floor. So I'm glad I got to see them again this weekend for the second of the 3. And this party just, it was off the charts. People going nuts the entire time. I don't typically drink at my weddings, but I had a drink, and I kind of figured out why the party was so good, because those drinks were strong. I could kind of tell people were feeling it, so I wanted to make sure I was keeping up. And so one thing I wanted to talk about with the Max booth is, man, I'm really having to defend myself, like create a fortress. I think I have a clip of me like just putting chairs everywhere, because when the dance floor is full like that, and I'm the only, access to, going back and forth between where people need to go, people just want to go behind me, and I got cables, everything. So I did have to kind of make a little fortress. So I got to figure out how to do that in the future when I'm not having like chairs that are like, kind of messing up the way the aesthetic looks of the table. So that was a takeaway. And then, excellent party on Saturday. Yes, the teaching moment from Saturday's party. I was going into this party thinking I could have a perfect wedding. And if you've been DJing wedding long enough, you know that, perfect weddings, they happen every so often, but usually there's some kind of mistake that you make where it's like, even if it's a tiny thing, like, it's a tough name and you mispronounce it a little bit, nothing crazy. But there's little things that happen that, you don't get a perfect wedding. But I was feeling like I could get a perfect wedding on this one. And I was working with the wedding. I'm be honest, I was working my favorite wedding planner, Red Letter Day Events. Angela, she's fantastic. She lets me kind of handle the stuff that are important to me, and then I kind of let her do her thing, so we work really well together. Sometimes with the wedding planner, if you're a DJ that's used to being alpha on an event and directing traffic, and you're working with the wedding planner who's used to being alpha, sometimes it can be sometimes things can get a little jarring, and it's tough to have you can't have 2 alphas on events, so you almost have to have like a conversation. I almost have a conversation with new planners to see kind of where they want to be. Hey, do you want to let me take the lead and you play support, or do you want to take the lead and I'll play support? So there's a teaching moment there. If you're working with a wedding planner, have that conversation so what you're going to do. I always prefer to be alpha, but sometimes the wedding planners, they don't know how to play support. So big shout out to Angela, and we've got a really good thing going there, and she's going to be the wedding planner, like I said, for all 3 of these weddings. So this is number 2 out of 3. So at the ceremony, I had my anchor speaker that I was talking about earlier. It was still working, and at this time I connected my phone to the speaker. And I typically don't do that. I have an iPod Touch that I use. It's got Wi-Fi on it, but it doesn't have it doesn't have LTE, right? 4G, 5G, whatever. So I was playing off of Spotify, and I used my phone this time because the venue's Wi-Fi didn't quite reach out there. And it ended up leading to a problem because I accidentally put the phone in my pocket. I walked over to see if Angela needed help organizing the wedding party, because even at this point they had been drinking a lot, so I could see that she needed some help, getting people quiet and getting people direction. So I walked over there, had my phone in my pocket, and the officiant came over and said, "Hey, your speaker's cutting out." So walking into a wedding thinking I'm gonna have a perfect event, and even I couldn't even get 15 minutes in before I had like a little bit of a bad show. So ran out, put this phone back on the speaker, ran back to help Angela, got them situated, and then ran back out. So already I'm like, oh man, there goes my perfect record. But everything else beyond that, I can honestly say was perfect. I nailed all my my speaking points. I typically don't do a lot of jokes unless they're like guaranteed laughs, and I had an opportunity to kind of poke fun at the father of the bride in a positive way. Someone had flicked the lights in the middle of his speech, I guess towards the end of his speech, and almost right after he flicks the person flicked the lights back on, he ended his speech. So I kind of used that opportunity to say, this guy's a great orator. He even knows that once they flick the lights, you're supposed to wrap up your speech. So I got a nice laugh out of that, connecting with the crowd. And then we just took it to everything else. One thing I hope that couples consider, if your wedding party is super large, or maybe they're kind of more shy, or maybe they just don't want to do some of the things that the wedding parties do. Some people do the fishing line when they walk in, or they'll throw a football or something like that. And if you're a couple, ask your couples if they're into that, because this couple is not into that, and they just wanted to announce me, hey, please welcome our groomsmen. Sometimes you can even list their names as they all walk out together, and they didn't want me to do that. So I literally just said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our groomsmen. Make some noise for our bridesmaids. Groomsmen came in, bridesmen came in, and then I did my typical, not typical, but I did my announcement of the couple, and that went great. So if you can coach your couples to do that, I think that's something that we could really make. I mean, that's the hardest part of the wedding for me. Once that's over, my shoulders, I'm relaxed, I'm eating, and that's just smooth sailing the rest. So don't be afraid to coach your couples on different ways that they can bring in their wedding party, because I feel like bringing people in pairs is kind of just the default, and sometimes it goes well, but sometimes it doesn't, and it's just kind of cheesy and awkward. So just it works for some couples and parties, and it doesn't work for others. So just present those options to your couples, and maybe you can make it even a little bit easier on yourself, especially if that's a part that you're not confident in, or maybe you just don't like doing it, like me. So yeah, that was that as far as the grand entrance. And then, yeah, like I said, the party was excellent, rocked all night, and I don't think there was any teaching moments beyond that. Khalif was my assistant on that day. He's getting started in his DJ journey. He's probably like 6 months in, got all the equipment, bought some of my old gear, and he's gonna be going. He did a test. He did like a test setup the day after, which I thought was cool. Went out to like some high school gym, set up all of his equipment, timed it, so he knows when he goes out to his next few gigs, how long it takes him to set up. He tested the sound system, was able to crank it, which he hasn't been able to do at a lot of his gigs. So that's another good teaching moment, is like if you're getting new gear, or you're starting out, or maybe you have like a wedding the next day, find a place where you can just go in, time yourself, set up, maybe do it 2 or 3 times, and just get used to that process, and like I said, time it so that when you're scheduling events, if the wedding starts at 5 and you need a half hour to set up, you get there at 4, so that you're set up and ready to go 30 minutes before the party starts, before guest arrival, so that you can troubleshoot for that last 30 minutes, or do whatever you need to do, change, blah, blah, blah. And let's see, what did I do Sunday? Sunday, I was at Standard Hall, which is like the de facto bar in the short north of Columbus. That's like our main kind of party area at this time. I did a Pitbull set. I've been doing medleys, while just, Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake, or just artists that you can just like go and go and go. I've been doing, quick medleys. And this weekend I did Pitbull, and I was rolling through Pitbull music, and I thought I grabbed I Know You Want Me, Cayocho, and I accidentally grabbed Give Me Everything. So I mixed in Give Me Everything, and then I thought I grabbed I Know You Want Me, Cayocho. Did not grab that song. Actually grabbed Give Me Everything again, and so I'm mixing pretty quickly. So I'm like boom, 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 and I'm thinking, man, this mix sounds really good. And so I drop it over into the next song. I grab the next Pitbull song because I'm mixing quickly. I want to just do choruses and like get as many Pitbull songs as I can in like basically 10 minutes. And I was able to get 13. But I see it's kind of like a family night. So anyone who's in our little DJ group, there's like a bunch of bars that this owner owns, and we has a bunch of DJs. And it's kind of like our family night we all just kind of play like an hour or so, and it's kind of a good way to like, play some old stuff that we wouldn't normally play during like Friday and Saturday nights at our residencies. And these guys are laughing, and I was like, oh man, they must have been a joke. And after I was done with the Pitbull set, you played this, you mixed the same song into the same song, and I was like, I knew that mix sounded really, really good. So instead of playing "I Know You Want Me," I mixed, "Give Me Everything" back to back. So that's what they were laughing at me. So yeah, I share my wins with you guys. I gotta share my L's with you as well. So that was a funny little moment for me. And that wrapped up the weekend. So let me know if you guys like this style of video where it's just, quick teaching moments for the weekend. We should always be learning as DJs. Every weekend you want to kind of add something to your repertoire. Like, okay, this is something I can do next time. This is something that I wanna fix or work on in the future. So this has been very good for me. I hope it helps you guys out. And like I said, if you really like this style of content, I'll up the production and I'll kind of plan out more stuff as the weekend's going on. So when the teaching moment happens, I can grab my little DJI Pocket 2, which I have to do a video on, and film myself or film kind of what's going on to kind of share it with you guys in these style of videos. But that's going to be it for me today, guys. Remember to like the video if you found something helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. And I think that is it. And leave a comment if you had any questions about anything I talked about. Signing off, DJ Access. Peace.